Now listen here, trainers, gather round the fire, for I have a tale to tell. Not of dragons and warring houses, nor beautiful princesses trapped in a castle, but of battles fought on a different kind of battlefield, a cardboard realm where Pokemon clash with cunning and might. Aye, you guessed it. I speak of the 2024 Pokemon TCG International Championships, a grand tournament where fortune favors the bold and strategy weaves a web of victory. In New Orleans, that vibrant city by the mighty Mississippi, champions from across the world converge one last time this season. Young upstarts with fire in their eyes and seasoned veterans bearing the trophies of past battles, all vying for the ultimate prize, a Pikachu trophy forged in the fires of the TPCI headquarters. In this video we'll delve into the strategies, the cunning plays, and the heart-stopping moments that left us all gasping for breath. We'll see decks rise and fall, brain-jumbling plays and fortunes shift on a single die roll, and the roar of the crowd as a single flower selected by a judge is what ultimately decides who was crowned the champion. So settle in, trainers, grab your favorite booster pack, and prepare to witness the best moments from the 2024 Pokemon TCG North America International Championships, a tournament unlike any other. A huge question mark as big as a floating Pikachu hung in the balance, with this being the first and only tournament in North America featuring the Twilight Masquerade set. Predicting the metagame felt like an impossible task, but seems like the Japan Championships the weekend before gave us a solid preview of what to expect. Lugia V-Star and Raging Bolt DX decks were everywhere, yet as expected, the distribution was a lot more even than the previous format, where Charizard EX was far and away the most popular deck in every single event. The surprise though was both Gardevoir EX and Lost Box being more popular than the brand new Dragapult EX deck. Seems like the lack of a clear best version of Dragapult EX established yet, despite many master classes taught about it, meant people were not as confident in it and defaulted to more established and straightforward strategies. However, Dragapult EX's numbers are deceptive, as the Dragapult EX Lost Zone variant actually had its own category with 119 decks present in the event. This wasn't immediately obvious when the Metashare graphic was displayed, so Dragapult EX would have occupied 4th place in popularity had these decks been combined, thus confirming the new shiny toy factor that we've come to expect when new set releases coincide with tournaments. Despite the popularity though, the highest placing Dragapult deck was played by Chaz Fincham at 22nd place. This list basically took the Charizard EX skeleton from rotation and replaced Charizard EX with Dragapult EX, and a few other tech cards like Enhanced Hammer and Kieran to help the deck out. We didn't get to see Chaz specifically, but we did see Kamal Crooks take a solid victory in round 1 with Dragapult Lost Zone, and Michael Pramawat take down Chinpao with his Dragapult Charizard hybrid deck containing a thick Dragapult line, but a 1-1 Charizard as backup, and with it, he was the second highest placing Dragapult deck in day 2. And while Pramawat played the Dragapult Charizard hybrid, Tor Dreckliff played a Charizard Dragapult hybrid with a 3-1-2 Charizard line and a 2-1-1 Dragapult line. It's very interesting to see both of these high profile players, having gotten 2nd and 3rd at Worlds just last year with Gardevoir EX and Giratina V-Star respectively, take similar approaches to a Stage 2 deck that really pushed the limit of balancing consistency versus utility to the max. But of course, this is only possible by the true greatest of all time, that is Pidgeot EX. And so where does this leave Dragapult EX decks? With no more tournaments left this season and a brand new set coming out for the 2024 World Championships, we might never see this card reach its true potential unless it gets some help in newer sets. And this brings us to Lugia and Raging Bolt, two of the most popular decks but also 0 conversions into top 8. The highest ranked Lugia deck was a very unique one by Alex Szymanski, featuring a much heavier focus on Iron Hands EX and 0 Cinccino in the deck. This meant that you could more reliably amp you very much sooner in any given match, but also you gave up on the aggression against high HP stage 2 decks which, if Charizard wasn't going to be popular and Dragapult wasn't believed to be that big of a threat, it made sense, and the deck still had Weird V as a fallback option to dish out that big damage. Pretty much every other Lugia V-Star deck at the top did feature Cinccino though, and it's hard to argue against unlimited damage from a single price Pokemon and favorable 2-for-1 price trades. In the end, Lugia's own inconsistencies is what usually limits it from truly being at the very top of this format. Although even the Heavy Iron Hands EX focus wasn't enough to stop Gardevoir EX and Turbo Lost Box decks from reaching the top despite being the most popular archetype in day 1. Raging Bolt EX on the other hand came close to top 8, with Brandon Salazar piloting this Raging Bolt EX deck to a 13th place at NAIC. Max consistency with 4 of pretty much all the important cards, as sneaky extra Sandy Shocks EX to help mitigate the need for Professor Sada's Vitality in the last few turns, and finally no Super Rod, which is what I found to be the most interesting and riskiest decision for them. Without Super Rod, there's no way to replenish resources to better the odds against opposing hand disruption with Iono, On First Stamp or Roxanne. Nor is there a way to recycle Sandy Shocks to help mitigate the single price issues or deal with multiple Mimikyu just in case. Of course, this is a calculated risk, and you lose those options but gain a very valuable space for consistency or other tech options such as a Lost Vacuum, so I'm not saying it is wrong by any means. Just surprised it wasn't included in the final 60, but clearly it worked out well for them. Both Lugia and Raging Bolt enjoyed a decent degree of success, but given their previous success in Japan and online in the lead up to the tournament, that might have set too big of a target on them, which Gardevoir EX and Turbo Lost Box were able to capitalize on and dominate the tournament the way they did, with 6 Gardevoir and 2 Turbo Lost Box decks in the top 8. That was probably one of the biggest surprises from the event, and one Gardevoir even bubbled out. So how come they dominated? Well, it was a combination of factors of course, and a good tournament run always factors in deck choice, matchups, deck list refinement and luck, but it seems like NAIC was the perfect storm for both of these decks to succeed. If you have enjoyed the video so far and found the information useful, please consider becoming a tablemon channel member through the join button down below. For as low as $1.99 a month, you can help support the creation of these videos. Gardevoir specifically is a very well-rounded and solid deck, and there's a wide array of psychic type attackers that you can use for different situations, both offensively and in a way to control the tempo of play. Drifloon and Screamtail are of course the main offensive options for the deck, and it should not be news anymore that Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain ability synergizes perfectly with Gardevoir EX's Psychic Embrace. This extra damage manipulation also brings out the best out of Fluttermane's Hex Hurl attack, as now the damage counter placement of the bench is supplemented with Monkey Dory to be able to get multiple KOs at once. This is extremely key in mirror matches and in the Turbo Lost Box matchup, which we saw plenty of in the top cut. The other Pokemon were Cresselia and the rare Klefki and Mimikyu, all of which served niche purposes and offered less offensive synergy but were better at shutting down more specific strategies such as Dragapult, Charizard, Miraidon and Lost Box decks. The other big difference between the top cut list was the ace spec, as some players like finalist Stefan Ivanov favored the consistency boost of Hyper Aroma, whilst others like semi-finalist K2RI preferred the extra disruption available with On First Stamp. Hyper Aroma did make the deepest run out of the Gardevoirs in the tournament, so perhaps that option is worth exploring still for the coming weeks and in the lead up to Worlds. But I do think one of the biggest, if not the biggest surprises this weekend was Lost Box winning it all, with the list being quite standard overall. The highlights for me were the 4 Pokestop and 3 Lost Vacuum inclusions, to really go turbo with it, as well as the inclusion of Iron Thorns EX to help shut down Lugia, which coincidentally was the most played deck in the room, so an excellent meta call by Andrew Hedrick and his testing group. But as I said before, the list is only part of it, and there's many other factors that feel like the stars align sometimes for such a win to occur. Andrew Hedrick overcame many obstacles to get the title of 2024 North America International Champion, including begrudgingly IDing into day 2, thinking more about earning just enough championship points to remain in the NA top 16 race, needing to go a flawless 6-0 on day 2 to have a chance at top 8, which he accomplished, and finally overcoming 3 different Gardevoir decks piloted by elite players, including the 2-time NAIC winner Stefan Ivanov, looking to add a 3rd title to his resume. And if that wasn't enough, he found himself down 2 prizes to 6 in game 1 of the final, with 0 cards in the loss zone, when his opponent finally let up the ability lock and a miraculous comeback happened that led to this magical moment. It's generally won. There's the boss's orders potentially being played. It will be played. Or not, or yes, or no, I don't know.
Yes, Andrew, put the card down. Manaphy is going to come up, as you said, Pablo, the most difficult Pokemon to get out of there, but Yeah, that Iron Hands EX still in a state of
Here we
confusion.
go,
Here's the coin flip
here we
here.
go,
Is it gonna be heads or tails?
Oh no,
It's off
where
the
is
screen.
It's heads! Wow, what an ending! Thank you very much, Confusion. Head flip to finish this allows Hedrick to make an unlikely comeback. What did we just watch, Boo?
I will forever remember that moment. The anticipation leading into it, and the roar of the divided crowd both in celebration and frustration as the result favored Andrew over Stefan. Stefan seemed to learn from game 2 though, and he continued with the lock and the pressure whilst Andrew struggled to see any cards or find any relevant resources and was never even able to get a single attack off this time around.
But after that, it's just a pass over to Stefan now, who's lining up this Scream Tail here.
I think he has it, 120 damage with that Roaring Scream onto the Iron Hands, and Stefan Ivanov will be able to win game 2 of this Grand Masters final.
And thus we were headed to game 3, with very little time left, and the nature of the match meaning it was unlikely we would see a complete game, which both players absolutely knew. Stefan was able to get the Klefki lock going since the very first turn, but Andrew was able to finally get some cards in Lost Zone slowly but surely, and almost made a crushing error trying to flower select under Klefki's mischievous lock. However, that was thankfully stopped before it happened, and thanks to a boss's orders, he took the first prize card for the first time this whole series, and with only but a single minute left on the clock. This meant Stefan was turn 0, and there was a lot of pressure for him to make up the prize deficit whilst also making sure Andrew wasn't able to take any more each turn. However, Stefan had other plans and really wanted to continue the ability lock, so he decided to pressure the active while shifting damage to the bench with Adrenabrain and Hex Hurl, ensuring he could get a double KO the next turn. However, an unlikely hero in Iron Bundle showed up at the perfect time, pushing the Fluttermane to the bench and leaving Stefan with an impossible decision. Promote Klefki to continue the ability lock, but also shut down his own Manaphy and open up the possible Radiant Greninja double KO, making it impossible to win, or promote the Gardevoir EX and allow Andrew Hedrick to choose all the flowers he could possibly want. Stefan went for the Gardevoir EX, and this allowed Andrew to get 10 cards in his Lost Zone and Lost Mine to put himself ahead 2 prizes to Stefan's 0. Stefan had his play set, and was able to continue the ability lock whilst KOing Sableye and Comfey with Fluttermane to take 2 prizes to tie the series in the final turn of the game, and leaving himself protected from Radiant Greninja thanks to the Bravery Charm on the Fluttermane and the Manaphy on the bench. Andrew had one turn, where either he took a KO to become the North America International Champion, or he failed and allowed Stefan to use Adrenabrain once more to KO Cramorant and win his 3rd NAIC title. And just like this final, I can't do this moment justice with a script, so I will just roll the tape instead.
It's all going to come down to this for Andrew Hedrick, trying to maintain composure here, but we're going to have to see what happens.
Oh, we are asking for a judge shuffle. Stefan making sure that the judge is the one that will determine the fate.
The
North American Championship, and there it is. The prime catcher is found, and Greninja will knock out the Klefki and will allow Andrew to become the North America International Champion.
As the final chapter closes on what many consider the most captivating Pokemon TCG season yet, the memories linger. From the rise of incredible archetypes like Charizard EX to the resurgence of Gardevoir EX, the metagame remained a captivating dance, forcing players to constantly adapt and innovate. NAIC and all the other major tournaments across the globe showcase the brilliance of strategic minds, the thrill of clutch victories, and the resilience of trainers pushing the boundaries of the game. But beyond the competitive fire, these seasons served as a powerful reminder of the enduring magic of Pokemon. These beloved shiny pieces of cardboard bring people together, spark creativity, and ignite a passion that transcends generations. As trainers pack away their decks and await the next season with eagerness, one thing remains certain: the Pokemon TCG continues to evolve, fueled by the unyielding spirit of its players and the promise of even more epic battles to come. The future of the Pokemon TCG is bright, and with each new season, the potential for innovation and awe-inspiring moments only grows. So, trainers, stay tuned, keep battling, and never stop exploring the endless possibilities within the Pokemon trading card game. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed. If you want to support the channel, you can use code tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 10% off on your aluminum accessories at TC Evolutions. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. ¿Eres de México y necesitas cartas de Pokémon? Busca Hyperbeam Cards en Facebook e Instagram. Y si estás en Tijuana, búscalos en el local C27 en el centro comercial Otay.